Our friends in blue showed up at my garage in the form of two police officers in a patrol car. I secretly watched them from my place under the lift. It was unusual to see such happy police officers. Their faces became more serious as they approached me. They confirmed my identity and said they had bad news for me. Something happened to my wife in our house and she was in the hospital, but they couldn't go into detail. I tried to leave right away, but they stopped me, wanting some answers. Can you explain where you have been for the last 3 hours, sir? Yes, officer. I've been here all day. Just ask my two mechanics. Sorry, I actually snuck out for 10 minutes around 11 a.m. to get us coffee. One of the policemen came over to chat with Mike and Pete. Another wrote down which coffee shop I was at. Can you show me your car, sir? He asked. Of course, my truck is outside. I took him outside to my pride and joy. The thorough bastard combed the interior, then opened the hood and felt the engine cold as a stone. That's it, sir. You can go to the hospital. I had a look of concern on my face as the hospital staff member explained the extent of Kate's injuries, the fact that she had received a blood transfusion, and then informed me that she was now undergoing surgery. I thought it was very unprofessional of the doctor to half-smile the entire time he was talking to me. On leaving the hospital, I was intercepted by the same two policemen who were in the garage earlier. They wanted some more answers. We retired to the hospital cafeteria for some much-needed coffee. They wanted to know how my relationship with my wife was. I explained that we met and got married relatively late. 8 years ago, Kate worked successfully as an attorney for a large local firm. She basically wanted to have children, but resisted my pressure until she was almost 40 years old because she wanted to establish herself in her job. They asked me why she was home on a weekday. I explained that Kate had quit her job a month ago to rest before her pregnancy, a sort of vacation before at least 10 years of domestic service. I then added in conclusion that I love my wife and we are doing well and are looking forward to having a baby. They asked me if I knew a certain John Barton. When I answered no and asked why they were asking, they avoided answering and walked away. I knew I could rely on my guys to lock the garage, so I went straight home. 2 forensic scientists and 1 detective were searching the house. The detective introduced himself and explained what he knew. He then asked me the same questions as the previous officers plus 1 new one. Can you explain why we found a few drops of blood in the downstairs toilet, sir? Sorry, I have no idea, detective. Now, can I ask you something? It is clear that you are not treating this as an accident and also that I am being treated as a suspect. Can you assure me that you are not concentrating on me as the only subject but are also looking for the real culprit? You can rest assured, sir, that we have several lines of inquiry. My colleague is now talking to Mrs. Barton. Who is this John Barton I keep hearing about? Sorry, sir. I think it is inappropriate for me to comment. He and the CSIs then walked away, leaving me confused. I went upstairs to the master bedroom and looked at the scene that was playing out. I would be really shocked if I was watching it for the first time. Earlier in the day, around 10 a.m. at work, I started thinking about sex. There is nothing unusual about this. They say guys think about sex an average of 67 times per waking hour. Let me tell you that men who have been virtually cut off from their wives for a month can at least double that. Since Kate left work, our 2-3 times a week has dropped to almost 0. Kate was either in a bad mood, bored and depressed, or too tired. Personally, I thought it was because her normal life was almost over and she was just scared. Being a caring husband, I didn't want to put pressure on her. She will come out of her fear at her own pace. I knew that my life would change after having children, but I understood that her life would be turned upside down. I kept daydreaming about what our sex life was like in the early years of our marriage anywhere, anytime, in any case. We made an effort to keep it fresh and new for as long as our imaginations continued to exist, and then slowly fell into the automatic mode that 2 long-term partners often fall into. I snapped out of my stupor. I knew what to do. Bring back spontaneity. Go home right now and have sex with Kate until you're unconscious. Okay, the decision has been made. It's time to get out and go home. I told Mick and Pete,